This is Real News Media TV, coverage you can trust. Please like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Select all for daily news updates. Good morning, good morning, good morning, my Real News Media TV family. This is the day that the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. I trust everybody is up this morning and is having a wonderful morning so far. Today is November 9, 2022. And in the news for this morning, Clarendon Mason charged for gun attack on cattle farmer. The police in Clarendon have charged a man who allegedly carried out a gun attack on a farmer while he was walking with his cattle along a roadway. 30-year-old Leighton White, otherwise called Bang, a mason of Havana Heights, was charged on Monday with shooting with intent, illegal possession of firearm, and illegal possession of ammunition after he was pointed out on an identification parade. His court date is being finalized. The alleged incident occurred on Denby Drive in the parish on November 30, 2021. The police report that about 7:35 a.m., the complainant was walking with his cattle along the main road when he was pounced upon by an armed man who fired several shots at him. The complainant, however, escaped unhurt and reported the incident to the police. White was implicated as a suspect in the investigation that followed. He was arrested in St. Elizabeth on Tuesday, November 1, 2022, during a police operation. He was later charged on November 7. Convicted murderer who beheaded a victim wants a sentence shortened. A St. Ann laborer who beheaded a man and set fire to his body after allegedly accusing him of passing on an HIV/AIDS infection will today attempt to convince the Court of Appeal to shorten the 20-year period he must serve as part of his life sentence before parole. The 29-year-old murder convict Neville Lewis, who had also inflicted multiple chop and stab wounds to the now-deceased Bernard Thomas, had reportedly enlisted the help of Thomas's lover, Howard Ricketts, in the gruesome 2012 killing. Lewis pleaded guilty to the murder in May 2014 in the St. Anne's Bay Circuit Court and was sentenced the following month to life in prison with a stipulation that he served 20 years before becoming eligible for parole. The killer subsequently took issue with the sentence and filed an appeal. The lone grounds on which the challenge was initiated is that the trial judge erred in failing to adequately demonstrate how he arrived at the sentence and whether he applied the relevant principle in sentencing the appellant. Attorney at law Kemoy McEron will be arguing on the appellant's behalf in the hearing, which is scheduled to get underway today in the Court of Appeal. The early morning murder took place at Lewis's home in Brownstown, St. Anne, on March 25. On the day of the incident, Lewis and Thomas were at home when they had an argument around 4 a.m. after Lewis reportedly accused Thomas of giving him the disease. During the quarrel, Lewis retrieved a machete from under a bed and used it to chop Thomas several times. The attack moved from the bedroom to the living room, where Thomas was trapped on the neck, resulting in him falling to the ground. Lewis, with the help of Ricketts, a security guard, dragged the injured man back into the bedroom and put him on the bed. They both chopped and stabbed him multiple times. Lewis then decapitated Thomas and placed the head in a rice bag before setting the bed on fire with the body. The police were summoned and Thomas's headless body was found on a mattress after the blaze was extinguished. The dead man's decomposed head was found 4 days later near a manhole in Orange Hill District, Brownstown, after a witness detected the stench and went to investigate. Both men were arrested and charged. Lewis, in a caution statement to the police, told the police that he killed Thomas after he asked him to perform oral sex. Meanwhile, Ricketts, who pleaded not guilty to murder, was found guilty in November 2016 and was similarly sentenced to life in prison in 2017. Ricketts, in his unsworn statement, testified that he witnessed Lewis chopping Thomas following an argument and that Lewis ordered him to take part in the act. He admitted that he assisted Lewis to pull Thomas to the bedroom, where he then inflicted stab wounds to the chest and intestinal area with a machete. "Officer, the boy never caused this for me. I him sent me to help him, and look what happened," Ricketts had reportedly told the police. Portland laborer accused of rape freed. A Portland laborer who was accused of raping an 11-year-old girl 2 years ago was freed on Monday. 29-year-old Kenrick Rogers was found not guilty by a 7-member jury at the end of his trial in the Portland Circuit Court. Rogers was arrested and charged with a sex offense in October 2020. During the trial, Rogers gave an unsworn statement from the prisoner's dock denying raping the young girl and presented an alibi. He insisted that he did not visit the girl's home on the day of the incident. Rogers further told the court that someone saw another man, who he identified as Kobe, going to the girl's yard around the same time that she alleged that he raped her. The Portland resident was accused of raping the student at her home on October 1, 2020. The complainant reported that Rogers held her down and sexually assaulted her after she let him inside her home to use the bathroom. A day after the alleged incident, Rogers went to the Buff Bay police station to ask if he was wanted and left his contact number. The police later contacted him and told him to visit the station. He complied. He was later arrested and charged. According to Rogers, the accusation was maliciously concocted. He said that a day before the alleged incident, he and the girl's mother had a big quarrel over partner money owed to him. Attorneys at law John Jacobs and Courtney Rowe represented Rogers. Guns trickle into FLA in amnesty's early days. A gun for which the license expired 17 years ago is among 5 pistols that were handed over to the Firearm Licensing Authority on Monday, the first working day of a gun amnesty imposed by the government. The guns contained a total of 10 bullets. 4 were from St. Andrew and 1 from St. Catherine. A 6th pistol containing 11 rounds of ammunition was turned over to the FLA by a St. Catherine resident last Friday, a day before the start of the 2-week amnesty. FLA Director of Client Services Beverly Robinson confirmed Tuesday. All 6 firearms were previously licensed, the FLA said. Archbishop Kenneth Richards, chairman of the Jamaica Umbrella Group of Churches, said Tuesday that he was not aware if any of his members have provided assistance with the handing over of guns, and there was no indication up to late Tuesday whether any guns were turned over to the police, as questions posed by the news were directed to the Ministry of National Security. The amnesty, which was enacted through the Firearms Prohibition Restriction and Regulation Firearms Amnesty Order 2022 and resolution passed by the Parliament, began last Saturday and ends on November 20. It gives holders of illegal guns one last chance to turn them in and avoid tough sanctions, including a mandatory 15-year prison sentence, that are included in Jamaica's revised firearm law. According to Robinson, the St. Catherine resident contacted the FLA to report that they have a gun for a licensed holder who passed away and they don't want to be found in possession of it and get 15 years in prison. So we went out and retrieved that weapon, she said. The 5 weapons turned over on Monday came amid an uptick in telephone calls to the FLA, the agency disclosed. One of them, the licensed holder, has not renewed it for 17 years. I believe that is longer than the existence of the FLA, said the officials, making reference to the 2006 startup date for the regulatory body. So from the FLA side, the amnesty is working. The Reverend Dr. Peter Gart, past the chairman of the JUGC, believes that the amnesty period may be too short and may not yield much. Sometimes it takes a while to convince people to turn over guns. Sometimes you talk to someone and they will say, "Boy, make me think about it," said Gart, who has in the past assisted with the handing over of illegal guns and the surrender of wanted persons. But the FLA said interest in the amnesty is very high, noting that its social media following has climbed from 8,000 to 20,000 since the announcement. 23-year-old man charged with Augustown triple murder. A 23-year-old man has been charged after he allegedly fatally shot 3 men in Bedward Gardens, Augustown in Kingston on Saturday, April 7, 2022. Charged with wounding with intent, illegal possession of firearm and ammunition, and 3 counts of murder is Marvin Walker, otherwise called Junior and Crocodile, a vendor of Augustown Road, Kingston 7. Reports from the Halfway Tree Police are that about 4:40 p.m., a group of men was standing at a shop when men armed with rifles and handguns pounced upon them and opened gunfire, killing 3 of them and injuring another. The deceased were later identified as Kevin Jackson, 21, otherwise called the Kids Friday, 24-year-old Rashid Edwards, otherwise the Boppy, and the 18-year-old Keena Ray, otherwise the Brain, all of Bedward Gardens addresses. Following the incident, an investigation commenced and the search began for Walker. He was arrested in October when he was denied entry to Panama. He was taken into custody on his return to Jamaica on Monday, October 31, and later charged, the police said. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Select all for daily news updates.